Hello, welcome to the Overcomer Podcast, and today I have the privilege of interviewing Jack Willin. Jack, how old are you?
I am just turned 18.
Just a kid.
Just a kid.
I'm just a little bit older than you.
Yeah.
All right, we've already talked about icebreakers. So
Yeah.
we do the icebreaker for everybody, and as we have more people on the podcast, this kind of just like balances all out in the beginning. Makes it nice and smooth.
Of course.
Your favorite color?
Red.
Red.
Always has been.
I feel like boys are either blue or red.
Yep. Most people that I talk to are blue. And some people like orange too.
I wonder what that's about.
I don't know. But I've always liked red.
I'm not smart enough to think about what that's about. Favorite food?
Probably would have to be fried chicken.
All right. What about sides?
You gotta go mac and cheese. And then I guess you could also do boardwalk cut french fries.
Oh, that's fancy. All right. Favorite memory?
Favorite memory?
There's a lot of memories.
There's a lot of memories.
Yeah.
I guess one memory for me would probably be, when I shot my first deer.
Hey.
That was 6 years ago. So that's a good memory. And then I guess when I first started driving, I was able to do a lot more things on my own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You shot your first deer when you were 12?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sweet. Was your dad with you?
Mm-hmm. It was only like a 15-minute hunt and one walk down.
What?
Yeah.
I wish I was like that.
Yeah.
Man, I shot my first deer when I was 4.
Yeah. Well, your dad just...
Yeah, my dad held the gun
Yeah,
and I
and you
pulled
pulled
the
the
trigger.
trigger.
But
Yeah.
I count it. People out there, if you don't count it, that's your problem. All right, Jack, where'd you grow up? Where are you growing up? Really? You're the youngest person we've had on the podcast.
Right outside of Seaford, Delaware. Yeah, on a back road out in the country, on some farmland. So
Some farmland on a very bumpy road.
on a very bumpy road.
Yep.
That's right.
What about family? Who are you staying with?
So I got my mom and my dad together, and then I've got 2 younger brothers. And then my dad's side of the family lives probably about 15 minutes away from us, 15 minutes away from us. And then my mom's side of the family lives all the way over in Ohio.
Yeah. Which people out there, most of the people know you. I remember the last name Willin. So we already talked to your mom.
Yes, probably going to be a little bit, hers is probably a little bit better than mine.
We should, oh, dude. Well, you know, it's so funny. Even if if everyone hates this episode, your mom.
That's right.
She's gonna.
Yes, that's right.
She said to me personally that this will be a gift for her.
Yeah, well,
So
we'll see.
At least we can bring it to your mom.
It'll at least be a gift. We'll have one person.
Yeah,
we'll
we'll
at least
have
have
one person. All right. So right now, I mean, you're still so young, but like sometimes when kids, like the older generations, are like, I want to be an astronaut, I want to be a cowboy, I want to be this, I want to be that. Was there anything in your life where you've been like, I want to do that?
So, yeah. So for a lot of people that know me, I grew up on a farm. I'm growing up on a farm, and I just for some reason ever since I was very young, I've always wanted to be a farmer.
So you're living the dream.
I am living the dream. Out open land, working long hours. That's what I want to do.
Exactly. You come from farm people.
Yes.
You tough group of people.
That's right. Very small group of people, but they're still out there.
They're still, yeah. True.
Not a lot.
You need them. If you don't have them, we don't have anything else.
That's right.
All right, so we can just go into testimonial pretty much. You have 18 years, but the reason why I want to do this podcast is because in the generation that we live in right now, or the times that we're living in right now, the youth of America have gone downhill.
Struggling.
I'll be very honest.
Yeah, no.
They move out, go to college, or even public schools, high schools, hang out with people that they should not be hanging out with.
Doing
and
things
they
they
are
shouldn't
not
be doing.
Yeah, they're not making Jesus their number one priority. Instead, it's their own interest.
Their own life.
Exactly. So I thought this would be a good podcast of someone. You're in youth group on Monday nights. Me and Ailey, my wife, help out on Monday nights. And then, of course, we see you
All the time.
And all the time. You've become one of our friends. So I just wanted this to be of someone get a window in the life of a youngster like yourself, even though you're adult now.
Young adult.
18. But just so they get a picture, because on the news it's always so negative. And there's only a few kids, and normally you only see those kids at church.
Yeah.
And so you're like, oh, that's a good kid. But everybody who doesn't come to church, you're horrible, or they don't see you at these specific places. So just get into your life. So like testimony, we can just go straight right from
into
there. Yeah.
So, Where to start? I guess I'll start. So I've obviously been raised in a very Christian household, and the Lord's been my life. Yeah, all ever since I can remember, and I accepted Jesus at about, I think it was 6 years old, and ever since then it has just been like we've been very like it to me. We've gone to church, we do all the extra events, but like for me, like we were saying with like the youth this nowadays, like most people can do that, and then they'll be like, what's like the rest of your week look like? Like, are you actually like living out your life towards God? And a lot of people, I would say, probably no, but there's also a select few group that does, and that's usually what youth group, most of the kids at youth group, or a few of the kids at youth group, I feel they do live their life like outside of youth group through like a pretty Christ-like way. And then, so I guess we'll fast forward. From 3rd to 8th grade, I went to Epworth Christian down in Laurel, and I got a pretty good education there. And then when high school rolled around, the options were probably either Sussex Tech. We thought about Dartmouth Christian, but I always wanted to go. That's where I always wanted to go, was Tech, just because of like all the trades and stuff that they have there and the sports.
Yeah.
And for me personally, when I had to, when 8th grade year was getting to the end, and I actually started thinking about like freshman year of high school, like I don't know, it was kind of, I don't know how to word it, like a little nerve wracking, because I'm going from a class of like 14 people to a class of like 300.
Yeah.
And going from a school that's very Christ centered and Christ based to a school that's, you don't really hear much of it at all. And it was a very like, not I would say like a hard jump, but like the first 2 weeks like were probably like one of the 2 of the worst weeks of my life. Like I did not want to go at all. I was nervous, shy. That's right after I broke my collarbone. So it was a very nerve-wracking time. But looking back on it, I feel like it was very good to be like stretched in that way, because, I mean, you're doing something right when like you're going to a different setting. It's going to feel different.
Yeah.
So like if I was going into that setting feeling like, well, this is fine, I'll just fit in with these people. I mean, I don't fit in. I fit in with a few groups of people there, but like if you look at like the whole entire, like if it was like a pie chart, it'd be like 5% to 95%, I feel like, of people that say they're Christian versus people who like actually like act and like actually like you can like see in their outside life. So yeah. And then through my years at Tech, it has been very good. I've found a group of people and I hang out with, that's the like usually like 5 or 6 people that I'm really good friends with there, and they're all pretty Christ-centered. So I'm glad I found a couple of people there that actually like want to pursue God and want to get more out of that stuff. And then I guess we'll backtrack a little bit if we want to talk about this.
Yeah, if you want to go broken collarbone.
We'll go.
How'd you get a broken collarbone?
So end of 8th grade year, going into 9th grade years. I guess this would also be like one of my biggest turning points in my life. Montana missions trip. I'm sure some of the people some people might remember my story, but for those of you who don't, Montana missions trip 4 years ago. First one, we were hiking and we were about 3 miles in, and went up to grab some water from the side of a mountain, and might not have been the carefulest getting down and jumped, which looking back on it was very stupid.
I'm glad we can laugh about it.
And yeah, lost my footing, started running, and then went head over. Feet went over my head, and then what I've been told is landed on top of a boulder and then bounced off of that and rolled a little bit more. Which, looking back on that, everyone tells me I probably should have been like dead that day. So if you're out there and like you're thinking like, well, God doesn't really have a purpose for me. Like, I'm not gonna say I wasn't thinking that, but like that really kind of like sparked something inside of me that was like, well, I very easily could have just died that day. Yeah. But obviously he has something more in plan, like something in store for me that he's gonna use. So I'm very grateful for that day. It was also just a day to like, I'm never gonna forget that. And it's also a reminder that life is very short and you need to be ready whenever, because like I said, that very easily could have been it. But I'm also very excited to see what the Lord has in store for me when I get out of high school and in the years to come. So yeah, that's just a little.
So I will kind of do it from my perspective as a youth leader. This was the first mission trip as a youth leader, I think. I went on, me and Ailey, my wife. Jack, you're a 14-year-old.
No one knew who I was.
Freshman.
14-year-old freshman. First mission trip.
With boots on.
That's right.
Going down this trail at a place that, oh, yeah. It was a beautiful trail. Everything was wonderful.
It was going great.
Yeah, so it was, oh man, Glacier National Park. I don't know why it just escaped my head. But it was just so funny. We had a great morning getting out there. Very fun times.
It was great.
Cooked breakfast with a little hot pot thing that you can get at like a camping store. Yeah, Bunsen burner. And we were in a long line because how you get in these national parks, you have to wait to get a special pass or something like that.
So we thought.
So we waited in line. I think it was like 5 a.m. It was very early. We had to get up to get first in line.
So we didn't have any breakfast before we left.
Exactly. So I'm like, I am starving. We're in the van, and I'm like, we got breakfast food. I have a pan. I have the Bunsen burner. I'm going to just start it right here, and we're going to open the doors of the van. We did that. Then we started moving.
Right after we cracked the first egg.
Yeah. So we have eggs in the pan.
And bacon.
I think I had sausage. And so we pretty much rode with the doors open, and I was pretty much just hanging by the side of the van. It's probably not the safest. We're going very slow. We're going down this path on a line, but it was just already that was just a very funny moment. And then that trail, you go up, get water.
Well, no, for the record, I was not the first person who went up there. In case you don't remember, Finn was the one who went up there first.
Exactly.
And he had taped Converses on.
Yeah, that is something I do always say to people when they say about you falling is Finn Fitzgerald went up that same thing, Converse, with holes that were ripped. The bottom rubbers.
The sole was completely off.
Completely coming off. And he had duct taped them with like a green duct tape. And he went up there and came down.
Just fine.
And it was, but listen, I think I was telling somebody, we were talking about you, and I was like, we're from Delaware. It's very flat. You're not used to all that stuff. But anyway, get to that trail. Right before you went up to get water, we were pretty distraught because there were chipmunks everywhere. Yeah, they were trying to get in our food bags just because so many hikers give them food or whatnot. And so that's like kind of what I was worried about when Jack went up. He came down, falls down. Everyone thought you were dead, 100%. I know Aaron, our now youth director.
And this was also his first mission.
This was his first mission trip.
He started out with a banger.
So, I mean, it really did, wow, we killed a kid the first one. Yeah, but I remember that. It's so funny. I think maybe I've shared with you before, but like some of the leaders, but I know me and Ailey, like after that night, every time that like I'd close my eyes, I would see you.
See, that's like also what like Miss Danielle was telling me about. Like Jason said that he saw the same thing, which
and I mean that went on for maybe a week or two, which of course that's not your fault, but it is something that like our minds almost can't comprehend of like, oh my goodness, did I just see that?
And that's like the thing for me, like because people say it was like so bad, and like when I stopped rolling, like I had a couple of good cuts, but like I was fine.
You were,
but like and people say like when they tell me that like it's like the worst thing they ever saw. It's just like
so I mean that has changed me and Ailey's perspective. We went on a little hike with our family in Georgia, and that was maybe the year after, and they were trying to go close to a waterfall, and me and Ailey were both like, no, I'm not doing it. I love all the adventure stuff, but after seeing that, it just sticks with you. Maybe it sticks with you for a reason because we're not supposed to see that. But so my perspective, I remember I run up to you with Aaron. Both think you are dead. We're running up to a dead 14-year-old. And I remember you were just saying, "I'm sorry."
I don't remember that. People have told me that. Like I don't. The only thing I remember saying was, "I'm fine." That's the only thing I remember.
See, I think that's what we all do, of like, because it's embarrassing that like you fall in front of everybody, but then also like as a man you got to be tough. But that is like such a bad thing. But of course your mind goes to I'm fine, and then I think you're saying I'm sorry.
See, I don't remember that.
Yeah, but dude, you were in shock for sure.
Yeah.
So anyway, Get there. This is the craziest thing there were two medical people. I do not know what their positions were, but they both worked at hospitals. I know the one that came up to Jack, who was actually hiking with his baby on his back. So this dude he was legit. He was into it. And he worked in the ER, came over to Jack, and I mean, did a full thing talking about moving this. How do you feel? All the questions. And I remember telling Ailey, when we were driving back to the church that night, everybody had fallen asleep, and I was driving.
Yeah, because it was like, 2 in the morning?
Yeah, it was late, and I think it was a 3-hour drive, or it might have been more than that.
No, it was 3. I remember.
Yep, so it's just driving in the dark for 3 hours. And I remember telling Ailey, the voice of that dude, like, I don't know, because we all hear God differently, and people, hear angels, hear the spirit, but it's like, that dude, it was like the voice of an angel. How calm he was. When everybody's like, freaking Jack is dead, and this dude's like, he's fine. No problem. Let me put my baby off my back real quick. Get into it. So anyway, thankfully, we could see, and we're 3 miles down the trail, so it's not like, hey, we'll just
walk off.
Yeah, or we'll just bring the ATV and we'll come pick you up.
Either walk off, or I was. What I've heard is it was either that, or they were going to call like a helicopter. Yeah, which that would have been very expensive. To get a helicopter,
would have been, but also that would have been pretty cool.
It would have been, but
and I would.
What's even cooler
is
get
on there with you.
I hiked right off of it.
Yeah, so that's the craziest thing in the world is that Jack hiked the way back by yourself. Yeah, of course we were by you the whole time. We were standing on either. I think Jason was in front. I was behind you, and I was just legit. That was the most stressful 3 miles because I'm walking behind you. And there's certain spots where it just drops off.
It's tight.
And you're on this little bitty trail that only one person can fit on at a time. And I was just waiting for you to either pass out or like all the shock wore off and and I got to jump and get you. And I told Ailey when we got done, I was like, if Jack did it, I'm diving for him. Like, it doesn't even matter. I don't care. Whatever. We both die. We're dying together. But that was just such a crazy thing. But got back, you went to the hospital. Out west, they have different hospitals, and this one was...
This was an hour and a half away, too.
Yeah, hour and a half away from where we were. We drive there. I think Aaron calls your mom, while we were there, because you got checked out at the national park, but they can only do so much.
They said I should go see a hospital, but I was fine for the most part.
Exactly, so... Which that, again, is legit a miracle by itself. And those two guys being there, if it was even worse. But so yeah, get to the hospital. You go in there with Aaron. I think we were just sitting in the van, just waiting for you guys. Get checked out, and they said everything was good. And then so when you came home, what'd you do?
So freshman year, obviously when to go out for the football team, and they told me I was fine in Montana. So I was like, okay, great, we'll go. We had 2-day practices, and I think it was like on the 3rd day of practice, we were doing Oklahoma drills. And for those of you who don't know what they are, it's 2 people lay down, and they get up, and they run, and they hit each other.
Yeah.
So I did that, went up, and hit someone with my shoulder, and I felt something kind of like, not like a pop, but it was kind of like a snap, and I couldn't move my arm. So the rest of the practice, I was kind of just sitting there, kind of like a lame duck, And after that, I came home and told Mom, I was like, I'm pretty sure there's something wrong with my arm. And sure enough, we went to the doctor the next day, and they said I had fractured it, my clavicle. So after that, I was in a sling for 3 weeks, I think it was. And after that, I said no more to football. Then I was just to be done with it. So
it's so funny that hospital did not catch that.
Yes, the hospital said I was completely fine, no broken bones. And
it was like a hairline fracture.
Hairline fracture, yeah.
But
yeah.
But I mean, you're a tough
But aside
dude.
from that, like, that's not bad at all considering what happened.
No.
And like for the people that say like miracles don't really happen anymore, and like I'm not trying to like blow it up to be something more than it is, but that's a miracle in my eyes.
Well, you think so many people have like in the Christianese terms of the language of Christian, people are like, I've always been a Christian, I don't really have a testimony. And I could say that you could probably be one where it's like, I accepted Jesus when I was 6, and like, I'm just a farm boy. I'm hardworking, have a great family. And it's like, that could have been that, but the Lord was like,
No.
let's spice it up a little bit.
Why not make it more interesting?
But think about, I mean, as you get older, sharing that story and like every detail, and over time you can ask different leaders of like stuff that you forget, and like I would say like write it down, because I mean that is a crazy testimony. And of course the weekend, the youth weekend we always do after mission trips, we come back here and then the kids speak for the weekend, so everyone can hear about the trip. And you spoke.
I spoke at 5 services.
Yeah.
Yeah, 5.
And you shared all of it.
As a little freshman boy.
And I know you were probably, as a little freshman, which is ridiculous. And, oh man, just think about that. You spoke all 5 services.
Yeah, I could say that I've spoken at 9 services now.
Isn't that insane?
That's crazy.
You're way above me.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe I've done 5?
Well, you went on all 5 mission trips.
Yeah, just because mission trip stuff. But I think we'll go into another big reason of why I wanted to have you on here is just because, of course, I've known you now for quite a while.
A couple of years.
And I talked to your mom about this, about like you had already brought up the decision of Christian school or public school, just different stuff. And I was talking with her about the pros and cons. And so I kind of just want to get the perspective from you first of negative experiences that people maybe have tried to push something on you or have tried to kind of divert you away from your Christian walk. And then this portion will be really like just you and me, because I know I have a lot of stuff too that I normally just share with youth kids. So I think it'd be good for our older audiences to think of it.
So for me, and it's kind of be a little bit out of order, but getting stuff like pushed on me, I haven't really had happen before, because after about like my first 2 years of going to tech, like you can ask like a lot of people, like I've had the questions like, oh, Wick, yeah, we never hear you cuss. We never see you smoke. We never see you vaping. Like, obviously those are like 3, I would never do any of that. And I feel like people have gained respect for me for that, because like, if you look at the first 2 years of my high school career versus my last 2, like at first people, and it's fine, like when people like cuss around me and stuff, like I'm not gonna say it doesn't bother me, because it does, but like I've asked people like, hey, like just if you don't mind, I'm not gonna go up and say that, because it doesn't bother me. But and like last year, junior year, and this year, senior year, like people just, they've recognized that I'm not gonna say like I'm different, but like they recognize that I don't do that, and they're kind of like, okay, well, we see that, and we're not going to be doing that around you, which is very nice, and I appreciate that. And then there's also the side of people that are just playing out like stupid and just really annoying. And there's been people I'll say I've probably been pressured just like one time, and it wasn't even for something that's that big. It was probably just like I was in the bathroom, which is a terrible place at high school, which it shouldn't be, but it's horrible.
It's very true.
It is one of the worst places to be. And there's a group of kids that came in there, and they all started vaping. They asked me, like, you want to take a hit of the vape? I said, no, I'll pass. Like, come on, why not? Why not? And I was like, no, I'm good, fine, just let me be. They just keep saying, I just eventually just walked out, and nothing ever came of it. That's really like the only thing. Like, but I've seen people get pressure into it, and I've seen people just buckle under it, because some people don't do well with peer pressure at all. And I feel like I do pretty good with it. Like, it's gonna take a lot to get under my skin and get me like frustrated, because I mean, every day you see something that's like, I disagree with that.
Yeah. And
it kind of like just like builds you up a little bit, and you kind of like, I wouldn't say like you're immune to stuff like that, but like I've gotten used to like, okay, this is how it, like, not this is how it should be, but this is how it's going to be, whether I like it or not. Like, that's just where we are in this day and age right now. It was very difficult at first to kind of accept that, but like, as I'm getting ready to graduate, and it's kind of like, what happened? Like, just like from 3 years ago to like now, it's just the change is crazy.
Well, the thing I'll like piggyback off you said, I 100% believe is because you know your identity. So many kids are trying to find their identity, and even now, it is the extreme.
Yeah, and like I'm not trying to interrupt anything you're saying, but like
please.
I've never found it hard. Like I've talked to people before, and they're like, yeah, I feel like it's hard. Like when I go to school, like just try to like like act the same. Like
Fit
because
in.
yes, because I don't have a problem with being like that. Like I've been different my whole life. I literally like I love to work. Like how many teenage boys are gonna say they love to work? Not a lot. And I've never really had a problem with just saying no and just like I could go a whole day and be just fine without talking to anyone. Like it doesn't bother me one bit that I'm different. Like that's kind of like I feel like that's what makes me me.
Yeah.
And yeah, I feel like some people just they want to be recognized, so then they'll buckle under peer pressure, and then that'll be it for them. And then because once I've seen it before, like once you do something one time, especially when it comes to like smoking, drinking, vaping. Obviously, like they'll come back and like you'll just hear it every single day. Like, oh yeah, last night we were doing this at a party and such, and like Halloween. Obviously, that just that's what everyone was talking about. All the parties they got to go to, and like, why didn't I go? I'm like, well, I have better things to be doing. I don't need to be at those. It's disappointing. It's very sad. And obviously, I'm sure it wasn't. Was it that bad for you? Like, was it? I'm sure it wasn't the same.
So, So going to that, well, of course, the Bible says we're going to be in the world, but not of the world. So that's definitely, So you got that. So I am the same way. I was never peer pressured in anything, and I really would say I never even got close to ever. People will definitely, which I'll go into. People pushed me to try to do everything. But it was always in the back of my mind, or really the front of my mind of, I'm not doing any of this. I'm a Christian. I don't know. I know what God feels about this situation. So for me, started public school in fourth grade.
That was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago. And my first day, which is so funny in the Christian world of talking about sex. So fourth grade, my first day of class, there's this girl that just starts talking about sex. And before then, I didn't know. All I knew of like, we have farm animals. And I'm like, yeah, that's how babies are made. Duh. Everybody knows that. But talking in this kind of context, I was like,
especially in fourth grade.
Horrible. Yeah. This is so bad. And I remember... I don't know if I ever told my parents or what I did, but of like, why'd you bring me here?
Why did you put me here?
Why am I here? But then as the years went on, it was it was more and more, of course, involved in sports. I will say for me, when I was, and I remember my parents had a store and their farm, and we had a little, it was propane, little gas fireplace. And we're sitting there in the store one day, and my dad, I think it was snowing, so we were just kind of like shut in and whatever. I think we fed the animals, and we're in the barn. And Dad, we kind of just started doing a Bible study, and he was just talking about, you leave sex for marriage. And I remember that day, I had to be, I don't know, 8, maybe. I might have been younger. But I remember thinking of like, because when you're that young, you're like, sex is disgusting.
Yeah.
But I remember making a promise to God and saying, Lord, I promise I will not do that. I will not do that until I'm married. And then throughout my life, it was always, I promised I'm doing it. And then thankfully, married Ailey.
And like, I don't even feel like that, like, yes, that is like a great thing to like say, like, I have never had like even like a struggle with like, and like, I don't think you have. I haven't ever had like a problem. It's never even crossed my mind.
Yeah.
And you see people like every day, just like that's like all they talk about, and
Dude,
it's just like, why? Like you're gonna ruin your life if something were to actually like come of that. You gotta make some really hard decisions.
Yeah,
like,
grow up quick.
Yeah.
It's not the way God intended it.
No.
And so you're doing it based off of your own plans, and those plans normally aren't the best. Even though He can still bless you in that. But you got to learn. You got to get a smack in the face by life.
Hard.
So high school, I did all the sports, wrestling, football. I've done cross country. I did track, pole vault, all that stuff. And wrestling was the biggest thing for me they are some of the roughest kids. We have Callum now, my son, who's 4 months old. And everybody always says, what sports is he going to play? What sports? Because they know I was sports. And I'm just like, none of them? I don't know. Definitely not wrestling unless it's a
Calling.
outside, yeah, unless it's an outside thing, or if one day he just like he's 4 and he just flips me over and pins me and I'm like, he has a gift. But so wrestling, those kids are
Rough.
I would say some of the roughest, and the sport is the roughest. The work that you have to do, and kids. So anyway, backing up there. So high school, I might have gotten asked this well over 100 times while I was in high school of, Kody, why don't you curse? Mm-hmm. And in the beginning, it was just like, because I'm a Christian, and then I kind of whisper it, and then I just like walk away from the situation. And then as I got older, my sophomore year, I really like dedicated my life, even though I've always had the Lord in my life, but where I was like, all right, I've always been on the defense. Now I'm going offense. Mm-hmm. And that's when I started telling people, like, I was just waiting for him to say, Kody, why don't you curse? And I'm like, let me tell you about this dude named Jesus. But I had kids, one weekend, there was a wrestling tournament, and it's a mixture. Some of these tournaments that you get put in, this one was for the state of Delaware, that I got put in my weight class. Mm-hmm. We're in a hotel with a bunch of kids. I have no idea who they are. They're from different schools, but now they're in your hotel room. Mm-hmm. And I'm just this sweet little Christian boy who's trying to wrestle. And this one kid from another school that's close to us just pulls out a little baggie of weed, mm-hmm. and he's making a joint. And he comes in my room to make it. And he's talking with my the person that was staying with me. And that dude, God bless his heart. But so he's rolling it up on the TV stand.
Yeah, uh-huh.
And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm about to go to prison. Because like, of course we wouldn't go to prison, but yeah, it's in our room. It's in my room.
Yeah.
And I took that as if like I'm doing it. But anyway, so he rolls it up. I don't know how they do all that stuff. Whatever. I wasn't looking too closely. I was probably texting my mom saying, please come get me. But so there's a little residue on the table, and he's just swipe right to the carpet of my room. And so that was one moment of like, how did I get in this situation? There would be kids on the weekends when we would go to these tournaments. You know, curfew would be like 9 o'clock. You got to be in your room.
Yeah, right.
Well, of course, they'd leave. They'd go out and drink.
Mm-hmm.
And then they'd come back and then wrestle in the morning and different stuff like that. And very unfortunately, we had wrestling coaches who also pretty much did the same thing.
Yeah, and who didn't care.
So, but everybody knew that I was the Christian kid. I had one other friend with me, and they would call us, like people would say, Father Kody, because I was Christ-like in their opinion. But then as the years went on, the wrestling team, it got to be where it's like, all right, we've shown this kid, like we've tried to catch him in all these things, and he hasn't done it. And then kids would actually ask for prayer before wrestling matches, and just or this happened, I was able to take kids home and kind of minister to them, hopefully plant seeds. Mm-hmm. I know I got many times people who I thought legit like were my friends. But of course, you have your friends, like the small group you have, where it's like, I know they will help me. Mm-hmm. But then also, if you're a nice person, everyone is going to like you. Yes. And if like you're pure in heart, everyone is drawn to that.
Yeah,
and that's because
I can agree with that.
And that's because of Jesus. Mm-hmm. Everybody wants to be friends with you.
Yes.
It's not like you're popular or anything like that, but it's like, I'm not going to double cross you. I'm not going to talk bad about you behind your back. All these things. Of course, people are going to want to talk to you and see you. But I would have those friends who I'm nice to. And many times, as their joke, they would pull up like porn on their phone and just show me
it,
right in my face. And I had that, dude, probably well over 20 times in high school. Mm-hmm. Of like, what about this? Or they would ask me just questions,
weird
like
questions,
absurd questions,
just to try to catch you in the
and
wrong.
Scenarios that they tried to be like, well, if it was an accident, what if it was this, but all I ever said was, you are just trying to justify your sin, and you're trying to go through me, and it's not me that's in charge of this. It is a person. It is God, and it's Jesus Christ, and He has saved you from that. But you're trying to fit it all into your life. So public school was it was rough. But also,
I'm sure there's a couple positives that you can get out of it if you just a couple.
Yeah. So not a lot, I'm saying I probably shared the gospel with probably over 100 people in high school, different sports. I had stuff on like the back of my shirts that said like play for him, or I'd do a Bible verse and just have people ask, and I was able to
People
have
pay attention to it too.
Oh yeah, and also I'd get so many kids who I had no idea who were like, I really appreciate you doing that. And I'm like, you can do that too, but they're like, oh, I'm too shy though. But that's not what we're called to be. So so public school, that is where like not the debate, but the decision of like, should your kids go to public school? Number one, there's so much bad there, but also there's bad at Christian schools.
It's just not as much, and
Exactly,
it's a little more hidden.
Exactly, it's hidden more. But then also, just like I was saying, it could be a perfect field of like you're going out, you're sharing the gospel to clearly lost people, and I mean you're the minority,
Severe minority.
exactly, in your school, and I know I was the minority in my school, and so with that, like that's where Jesus would go. And Jesus would probably rebuke the people in the Christian school, but he'd be going to that public school and talking up a storm, asking questions of just, have you ever thought about it like this?
And that's how some people, all they need is just like a little question asked, and it can be life-changing.
Yeah. So I know, I hate to be the one talking so much, but this was just like you and me just discussing about it, just like I would talk to you at youth group or at our houses or whatnot. But I would have so many kids like ask that question, why don't you curse? I'd go into it, and then it would be like, yeah, I believe in God too. I can totally relate with all that stuff. And then you see them, and it is totally the opposite.
Yeah.
And so at a young age, that is even more of like the enemy putting it on you of, oh, my whole life I've been this kind of Christian, but they said they're a Christian too, so I can be that Christian where I can also indulge and do all this.
But there's a difference in like a lot of people, like I'd say like, I can't say like a percentage, but like a lot of people can say like they're two-faced. Like they can say, oh yeah, I believe in God. I go to church on Sunday. I go to youth group on Monday. That's great. How are you going to act Tuesday through Saturday when you're not? Like, do you have? Because it's very important for me to have people that hold me accountable, like you. Like, I'm very grateful that I have someone like you to hold me accountable. Like, and you're gonna mess up. You're gonna slip up, and you got to have people there to like say like, hey, you messed up. Repent, fix this. Don't do it again. Not necessarily like, not getting like on you, but just like someone there to steer you in the right direction, and not just be like, okay, you say you believe in God. Are you actually gonna like? Are you gonna like actually plant the seeds and then like actually tend to them and like help them, and like, are you just gonna like throw them out there and be like, okay, I went to church. That's great. That's enough for a week. So.
Or I said I said Jesus' name one time today in class. That counts for a week. I
prayed the Lord's Prayer one night tonight.
Yeah, I don't need to do anything else. I'm done. He's got it all covered. No.
That's what a lot of people think, sadly.
It's very unfortunate. I also had friends who were Christians, who were even in my small group of like, I grew up with them. They know who I am. I know who they are. I know that they love the Lord. But then they would take the gospel. My perspective was always your actions speak louder than words. My verse in high school was 2 Timothy 2:4. If that's not it, my apologies. I could just be blanking after I just said that's my verse. But I've ran the race. I've kept the faith. That's the verse.
I think I've heard that verse before,
yeah. And that's pretty much like how I always saw it. Because in sports, I'm like, I got to keep pushing. I got to keep doing this. And throughout high school, I was like, I can make it through it. And it's not just about me. But I had friends who would go out and very blatantly just say like, you're doing a really bad thing right now. And me as a Christian, I don't approve of that. And you kind of, it's very snarky and...
It'll make you mad a little bit too.
Well, sure, even if they're a godly person, Jesus wasn't like that. Jesus did not. He started asking questions.
He didn't just come out and say, questions, you're terrible.
Yeah, questions out of love. And so it was normally, in my perspective, I was like, people are going to see things just like cursing. People are going to notice that. You know, the Bible talks that we're the light of the world. Let your light shine bright. Of course, Jesus Christ is the light of the world. But we're supposed to be lights in the world. And so people are going to notice that. And I always took the perspective of, well, I'll share with them. And normally I'd pray in my head and I'd say like, Lord, do you want me to say something about you to this person? Or what do you need me to do? But most of the time it was, them asking the question. I didn't have to go up to him and say, "What you're doing is horrible. This is disgusting. What kind of life are you living?"
You filthy animal.
Exactly. You filthy animal. What's wrong with you? And I had Christian friends who disagreed with that opinion. And they were like, no, they're doing it wrong. I need to tell them. And it's like, all right, well, if you want to do that to this small group where they're just going to see you being judgmental, they're not going to care. You might as well just go on the news and say that. No one's going to listen to you.
There's ways to go about it in like a respectful way that people are actually going to listen, because no one wants to get yelled at. Like there's ways to come about it, or like grab their attention and then tell them. Don't just come out and just scream at them.
It's true. If we have the perspective of us because we are in Christ, we have the Holy Spirit, we know that we're going to be going to heaven. And if we have that confidence of salvation, that I know even though I mess up, the Lord knows where my heart is, and he knows what my intentions are and what I'm trying to do. I know I'm not perfect. I'll never be perfect, both of us, but we're striving to that. With that, of course, we're striving to be perfect. In school, so many kids are trying to be perfect for their friends.
Their girlfriend, their boyfriend,
and
whatever it might be.
Yeah, you're trying to be perfect for this person, and then when this person fails,
then what do you?
You're lost. It is like
it is very. You see it every day. It is. Yeah.
You talked about, like we said, like your identity, and so many kids are insecure about their identities that they try to be someone
Fake.
They're not. Yeah.
And then the real them comes out, and then it starts,
Or it's too late. Yeah, where it's like, oh man, well now I'm kind of like, I really need to smoke more weed, but I don't want to do that. I didn't think I would do that.
Something little it could snowball very fast and turn into something a lot bigger.
Yeah, it is. It's been great. But if our mindset was that we have this confidence, going back to what I just said, now us going out, we don't see it as just these are horrible people, or even at times with me, I was like, these people are so different than me. I don't want to talk to them. I don't want to look at them. I just want to go to class. I want to go home. But if it is us looking at, okay, I know where I'm going. All these people are lost people that are going to be going to hell. I say that in my mind. I don't say it to them. You're going to go to hell. Because people have that same thing of, well, then I do need to say it. It's true, which it is true.
Just
but to do it in a loving
yes.
way of saying, listen, I love you so much. I think I know someone. No, I definitely know someone that can help you. His name is Jesus Christ. Let me tell you about him. So going off all that stuff, high school, looking back, I'd say public school was the good choice.
Yes, and I would agree with it, because there's a lot of things, like there's a lot of other benefits that come with it. Like obviously for me, like one would just be like you're gonna get to know a lot more people. Like for me, I feel like I've gotten to know a lot more people at Tech than I would if I went to a private school, which is not saying like private schools are bad. I'm not saying that at all. It's fine. But like I feel like I would fit in a lot better. Like there's gonna be more people that are similar to me. Maybe not like faith-wise, but like just like personality-wise. I feel like there's a lot more people and a lot more options at a public school. And like just like obviously for me, we're both athletic. We both like to play sports. That's like another reason why I wanted to go there. I love playing baseball, and that's just like public school. I feel like was definitely the right option, and you definitely have like learned a lot. Like once you sit back and actually reflect on it.
Well, it's true. It makes you stronger in your beliefs, stronger in your faith, where it's like, Lord, everyone here is so different than me. I need you. I need you to help me. And then to go throughout the years and not waver, it just makes you a stronger person.
And yes, it's kind of like a reward at the end, like the light at the end of the tunnel. Like you see that you've made it, and like look how much you've grown. And I feel like it also kind of like prepares you. I'm not gonna say prepares you for the real world, but it gives you like a quick glimpse into like what life can be like. The things that are going to come, like you're going to have tough spots in life. And like, I feel like one of my biggest things, like how are you going to act when the tough times come? Like, are you going to buckle and go down the wide path? Or are you going to stay true and go down the short and narrow path? Because there's been a lot of times like you'll be like, well, the easiest thing to do would be stay on the wide path and go with all the people that like all my friends. But there's definitely going to be times in life where you got to like be bold and stand up for your faith and be like, I'm gonna stay on the straight and narrow path, even though I might get made fun of, even though I might lose some friends.
That was you just bringing that up reminded me of my sophomore year when I started taking it more of like the offense for the gospel. I had a conversation with some of my closest friends and closer friends of saying, listen, I was never doing anything bad before them, but I was like, listen, the stuff that I kind of have seen you do, I don't want to hang around you as much because I'm afraid
You get caught.
I could just or I'm trying to help you so much that it's going to start dragging me down. Of like, we're not equally yoked in our friendship. And I had a conversation with them and said, listen, I'm going to start living more for Christ, more for the good things, for purity, all this stuff. And if you're not coming with me, then I love you, but I need someone that will build me up.
Not drag you down.
I lost quite a bit of friends, and some, they've come back, and I've gone to them, and done different stuff like that. But it is a point of, I know who I am. You do not need to tell me who I am. I know someone who has already told me who I am, that I am a child of God, that I am loved. And so, yeah, friendships in high school are
Rough.
Because true, it's like you could have a friend group in every single class. It's a different person that you cling to. Of like, all right, well, if something happens, I know that this person's in the class. Or like sports. Oh, I'm going to see him later when we go on the bus to go to that school. I'll see this person, or different stuff like that. And the thing is, mostly when you get out of high school, you're probably not going to see those people anymore.
You're probably never. I'll probably see like 3 of the people now that I'm seeing in high school right now, like, which is crazy to think about. And maybe, like, you never know. But
I mean, that's just one more reason of what would it hurt if I told them about Jesus? If I might not see him again. And, like, I think people are probably scared to be like Christ for their school because they're like, well,
worry about what people
tomorrow I got to see that same person after I just said all these things, and they're going to look at me differently or whatever.
Who cares?
It doesn't matter. Come on. Jesus did not say that we should be timid. So, one final thing, from an 18-year-old, one piece of advice that you could tell the audience, and the audience is probably my mom, Ailey, your mom, of older people, younger people, middle-aged people, babies, Callum, if you're listening, if you're out there,
somewhere.
But one piece of advice that you'd want to leave us with.
So one piece, I'm just gonna say, like, for me, like, one for me would be like pray continually, and then also don't ever be satisfied. And I say that meaning like there's always more work to do. Like, don't ever be the person just to sit back. Like I touched on before, like, don't be the person just to sit back and say, I did this on, we'll say, Wednesday, and I'm good now until Sunday. Or I went to church this day. I went to church on Sunday. I told one person, I mentioned Jesus to one person. I'm good for the rest of the week now. Like, going to public school for me, I know has been, like, good, like, just being able to just, like, because and I'm not saying I'm like a shy person, but like I said, like the first 2 years, it was a little bit harder. And I have shared with quite a few people, actually. And it's great to see, like, how their lives are, like, turned around. So just don't ever be satisfied, because the second you get satisfied and something hard comes up or a hardship comes up, how are you going to react to it? And if you're satisfied and you haven't actually been, like, working or growing, I feel that, like, you're not prepared for what's to come in the future.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Dude, awesome. All right, well, I want to do one final more question, too.
Okay.
Of what is your prayer life and what's, like, devotional time, your Bible reading life?
So, for me, I struggle, like, I'll say it, I struggle very hard with, like, reading this Bible. It's a study Bible. It's a great Bible. I love it. I do a lot of, like, I have the Bible up on my phone, and every morning there's, like, a different verse. And I love going on there and reading that verse. And then what I'll do is I'll go through and try to find another verse that's similar to that, and then read that chapter with, like, the verse that I can, like, because I think I love is reading a verse or a chapter more than once. And I was talking about this with you, I think it was yesterday, actually. You can get so much more out of a verse or a chapter or even a whole book of the Bible if you read it more than once.
Oh, yeah.
So that's why I like going through and, like, I'll read the verse of the day, and then usually after that I'll go through and I'll flip through or scroll through in this case and find a chapter that's similar to that verse or whatever that's been like surrounded by, and then I'll read that chapter.
Wow, sweet.
And then usually I pray I pray once in the morning and then once at night before I go to bed every night.
Awesome.
And I make that like a priority. Not just, it's not like, there was a point where it was kind of like this was last year's mission trip touched on, like, it was getting to the point where it was kind of like a chore, like, oh, I have to do this now. And I wasn't really like getting much out of what I was reading. Right? If I was just like, okay, well, I read my Bible. I was satisfied.
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of improvement, like personally myself, and I'm trying to get to the point where I can be reading this. I struggle with it, and it's something that I've been convicted on, and I'm working on it. But yeah, that's where I'm at right now.
That's all our hearts. But your conviction and then your willingness of saying, but I want to.
Yes, and it's not like I shouldn't say I do read out of this. I do.
It's hard. It's hard for especially like guys with school or work. It is to come out time. So this was something that convicted me. Like I might have heard it last year, talking about prayer. Someone on a podcast was sharing of the way you are with, say, your family, or in my case, your wife. Like the first thing in the morning, the first thing that you're going to do, you're going to talk to that person. Like you're either going to talk to your dad, your mom, or your brothers. Or mine is, I'm going to say good morning to Ailey. But our priority should be, I got to talk to the Lord first. He should be the one. Of course, you can say hi, but if our relationship was the same of, I got to tell this person good morning. I remember when me and Ailey were dating and we text each other good morning. But that's how we should be for the Lord. I mean, when I wake up,
text him good morning.
It is like, because I love him. I want to hear from him. I want to talk to him. But that was something that really convicted me. And so I've been trying to do that of, Lord, you're the first thing in the morning. So that was great.
That was fun.
Awesome.
That was good.
I think your mom's going to love it.
She might. We'll have to watch it.
All right. Well, thanks for watching.
Thank you.
See you next time.